And he says loud enough for me to hear, see, this is why I don't date black women because blah, 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 blah. I don't know what the fuck he said after that. I only heard that one line. What's up, YouTube? We are back with another video. Now, I know some of y'all were hoping that this would be Crazy Story Part 3, but that one is still in the editing oven. So instead, I'm here today to give y'all some black ass advice. No sugarcoating. Now, before we start, I know not all of my viewers are black, so that's cool, but if this conversation makes you uncomfortable, maybe this is not the channel for you, because if you did not know by now, this is a black woman behind the microphone, if you did not notice. Okay, so anyways, let's get into it. So what's it like being black in Japan? Now, I know a lot of people have questions. I've seen comments on other channels and interviews and other channels explaining this. You know, are Japanese people accepting of black people? What do they think of us? Will I be accepted? And I just kind of want to give my 2 cents of what I think of the whole thing, being that I am a black woman. So let me just say this first. Being black doesn't get erased when you change countries. You are still black in Japan, period. Our experiences follows us everywhere because what the world has already been fed the same stereotypes about us for decades. Black people aren't fully accepted anywhere. That's just the reality of the truth. You're not suddenly a different person because you're surrounded by sushi and cherry blossoms, whatever the fuck. All right. Now, here's what a lot of people do not realize. In East Asia, black people are often seen as models of something. They'll assume we're from Africa. Like Africa is one big country. It's not a country, it's a continent. And they'll think that we all somehow know each other, are related, blase, blase, blase. They'll ask us about hip hop, guns, or basketball every time. And if you're a black man, they'll assume you play ball every single time. If you are a tall black man, you are automatically deemed as a basketball player. And for the record, not every black man is dunking on people for a living. And we know this for a fact. Even within the black community, we've got our own internal chaos, okay? We have so many sub conversations about blackness. I can't even keep up. I can't keep up with all of this shit, bro. Light skin versus dark skin, African versus Black American, and African American, Caribbean. All the tension came from history and media brainwashing. But in Japan, none of that matters, okay? They don't care. To them, we are all under one umbrella. We are a monolith, black. That's all they see. And honestly, that's how the rest of the world sees us too. They don't think, you know, Caribbean, Jamaican, Barbadian, none of that. Black, African, black. Let's talk about how some black people may actually be delusional. I am under that pre-assumption. I remember a few months back, I was watching this very popular streamer called Your Rage. He's actually one of my favorite streamers of all time, and he was joking on stream. I'm pretty sure he was trolling. I'm not coming for him. This is not a diss, so don't eviscerate me as if there's anything to eviscerate. But he was joking about how, like, if he had moved to Japan, people wouldn't think that he's just black or from America. They would think he's exotic and from the islands. No, nigga, no. You're just a nigga, all right? Rage, you are a nigga. You're black. That's what they're gonna see. And he's been here before. I'm gonna let that speak for itself. They're not thinking Caribbean. They're not thinking Rare Gym. They're thinking a black guy. Hip hop, rap, guns, cool. Probably from Africa or America. That's how narrow the world view is for a lot of people who have never left Japan or interacted with other cultures. Now, I see a lot of other YouTube channels and street interviews about other foreigners speaking about how Japanese people don't see race. We're just foreigners. We're all just foreigners.
The dick riding gotta stop. It gets to a point, though.
That's a comforting lie people tell themselves so they don't have to deal with the reality of prejudice. Now let's address this lie that keeps floating around. People love to say, in Japan, they don't see color, they just see foreigners. Yeah, that sounds nice, but that's cap. That's delusional as fuck. Because yes, they see foreigners, but they still rank us, just not to our face. And Black people are at the bottom of that foreigner hierarchy. The difference is they'll never tell you to your face. That's how Japanese culture works. They'll smile and stay polite, but as soon as you walk away, it's full-on Judge Judy behind your back. It's not the aggressive racism you get in America, of course. No one's screaming slurs or chasing you down and calling you a dirty tar donkey, but that doesn't mean it's not there. It's underhanded. Quiet doesn't mean harmless. And to the foreigners who keep downplaying it, stop. Just stop. I see so many Black and non-Black foreigners online saying Japan's not racist. They treat everyone the same. They're just shy. They're not used to foreigners. Yeah, that's their favorite excuse. It's an island nation. Like that magically explains prejudice. Let's be honest. That's just the easy way out. It's how people avoid admitting bias. You know, not me, my friend used to work at these, bunny and girls bars, and she has heard from many different customers saying that, there are still a lot of prejudiced people in Japan. This is what I'm talking about. A drunk man will say what a sober man is thinking. And I have heard so many things that are either racist or are about being racist and prejudiced. Every East Asian country has its beauty standards and racial hierarchies, Japan included. Blonde hair, light skin, blue eyes, that's the standard. It's in ads, it's in entertainment, it's even in the dating scene. You don't need to speak Japanese to see who gets prioritized. So when people say it's not racism like in America, sure, they're right. It's not loud, it's not public, but it is still real. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's peaceful. Racism is all over the world. It just comes in different forms. Also, I remember 4 years ago, before I moved to Japan, my friend Takuya, he had came to visit Florida. Now, it was his first time in America, and we were talking over dinner. And, I asked him what he thought about Florida, how's his experience been. He said, pretty good, blase, blase, blase. And then I don't remember how, but for some reason we got on the topic of Black people. And I do remember him saying, before he met me and before he came to America, he did have this misconception about Black people because of what he would see in Japan, what the Nigerians and Harajuku and Shinjuku were doing. With that, he already had a negative perception of Black people and always thought that they were scary. But after having more interaction with Black people, being in Florida, and then having interactions with me, he said that Black people weren't so bad after all, especially because I had lighter skin. He said that he didn't find me very scary.
Girl, shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that?
Now, I felt every type of way about what he had said. I did not think it was okay at all whatsoever, but you have to pick and choose your battles. I had to keep in mind that he is a guy from Japan, and if he was a white American, okay, yeah, boy. But I was not going to lecture him. I just kind of told him this was really not like a good judgment to have. I remember I gave it to him as light as possible. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is what my friend Takuya said just proved my point about the racism and, the Japanese people not seeing color and only foreigners. Bullshit. Now, about how Black women are perceived. We're often hypersexualized, seen as wild, bold, or too much, aka ghetto. That idea exists in the West, and yes, it exists here too. But to be fair, I've personally never had a Japanese man fetishize me directly. I've never had one say, I've always wanted to be with or try a black girl. Luckily, I have never had that nightmare. And that's not me downplaying it. I'm just saying like that I personally have not experienced that. But I do have friends who have been on dates with men who have said this to them. I do think that stereotype affects how Japanese men see us. Like with my ex. The only Japanese men I have ever been with and never again. The only I have ever had sexual relations with. Y'all know who I am talking about. Kento. Now, if you don't know who Kento is, I highly advise that you go back to my videos, Crazy Story Part 1 and Crazy Story Part 2. I talk about my Japanese ex-boyfriend, the only Japanese boyfriend that I have ever had. And it is, just like the title says, a crazy story. And looking back, I really think part of why he got so possessive was because of that same hypersexualized image. Like, he was already threatened by an image of me that he created in his own head. Now, that has not been confirmed because I never gotten the chance to ask him that, but that is what I am assuming. Now, the real conversation. Before we start worrying about being accepted by other people, and I'm talking to us black people, we need to talk about accepting each other. Because too often I see black people here ignoring each other, pretending not to see one another in public, acting cold because they want to seem different or above their own. Black men and women, stop that. Okay? Stop it. We are already outnumbered here. Why make it worse? You know, I'll never forget one night I was walking in Roppongi with my friend. She was a white girl from Poland.
I took the walk to Poland.
And she was, for lack of a better word, dressed more ratchet than I was. Now, I was dressed up looking good, had braids in my hair, and I had on a pair, like, it wasn't like a short dress to where you could see my face, but like, it was, we were going out. What you want me to do? So I hear some random black man, I think he was like a bouncer at the place that we passed by or something. And he says loud enough for me to hear, see, this is why I don't date black women, because blah, 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 blah. I don't know what the fuck he said after that. I only heard that one line.
I'm like, what did he say fuck me for?
Like, sir, what, why, bro? What? I wasn't even looking your way. That's not even preference at that point. That's just disrespect. Like, ugh, what was the reason, bro? Like, can I just like live without you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but this is the shit that I'm talking about. So, will Japanese people accept black people? It doesn't matter, because no matter where you go, you're still black, and not something you should never shrink from. Accept yourself before you worry about other people accepting you. Accept your people before you worry about another group of people accepting you. Because once you do, you won't need anyone else's validation. Accept yourself first, love your people first. Because the rest of the world, they'll catch up when they do. All right, YouTube, that's all for today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. I said like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for Crazy Story Part 3. All right, bye.